how are you? Everything okay with you?
Greetings, greetings. Doing wonderful. Greetings to all the Portuguese people. Nice to be talking to you.
Yeah, nice to be talking to you too. Your first album with Iron and Eyes, Blood In, Blood Out, has just been released. How have the reactions been so far?
Amazing. I mean, really positive. I think we had one kind of average review, but I mean, when they do a scale of 1 to 10, it's averaging 9, and it's been really good, really good. Pardon me, that's my dog barking. Um, I mean, it's been super positive. YouTube views are really strong. I mean,
Yeah.
the release was last Friday on the 21st of October, and I get messages all day. And the Iron Allies fan club page. I mean, people are buying it, and it seems to be working, and people really like what they hear. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, you should be. It's a really good album, and
Thank you.
I think it will be a classic from some years from now.
I hope so. I really hope so. It's not just a project; it's a real band. You know, we're
Yeah,
planning on touring.
yeah, and you are planning on making more albums than this one, right? Not
Yeah,
one album
yeah,
project.
absolutely. Oh yeah, it's I'm going to continue being a solo artist, and Herman will continue, I believe, with Victory as well and
Mhm.
his solo thing. But Iron Allies is our focus right now. But if shows are minimal because of the economy next year, of course, I've written probably 2 solo albums in the last 6 months, so I have piles of really heavy, great melodic rock that I'm recording, on my days off, and
Mhm.
I'm just kind of building a repertoire of new songs and finding out what direction my solo music is going. But my main focus is Iron Allies right now.
Yeah, and do you are you writing songs already for a new album?
Yeah, like I said, I've written probably 20 solo songs, and Herman and I have 6 new songs for the
Yeah.
next Allies album that we really like. But
Mhm.
we will wait and see how well Iron Allies Blood In, Blood Out does, and then keep writing and building
Mhm.
over the next 6 months, and then collectively, the best 20 songs we find, and then narrow it down to 10 or 12. You
Yeah.
know, I think we had 6 songs left over from Blood In, Blood Out, yeah, that we liked as
Mhm.
well. So there's probably 12 or 13 songs that are in the back burner right now.
Yeah, and you also did that same process to this album, right? You wrote like 20 songs, and then you chose the ones that you liked more.
Yeah, I think there
And
were 18. Yeah.
yeah, and how did you make that selection? Like any specific
It
criteria?
just you always know which songs are better. I always find if you have to force yourself to say I really like this song, and then the 4 other guys are like, vacation. I play it for my wife, and then she picks her favorites. Like for instance, Blood on the Land is her favorite. I
Yeah.
have friends who say Martyrs Burn is their favorite, or Destroyers of the Night is their favorite. So it's a collective, everything is
Mhm.
subjective. So that's kind of the same feeling the band had about those songs, the same ones.
Yeah. And you all agreed. There was not like big disagreements on that.
No, I
Okay,
refuse to
that's always great.
disagree. If like I said seconds ago, I mean, if it's one guy is fighting for a song and the rest don't like it, it's
Yeah.
pointless because they're not going to put their heart and soul into recording it and the energy that it needs to be like the rest of the song. I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you are right. Now, as you said, Iron Allies were brought to life by you and by Herman Frank. How did you two meet?
You know, we uh,
Yeah.
we began a year ago in April, just talking on Facebook, and I got a message. Hi, it's Herman Frank. I've always loved your voice. Maybe we should try to write some songs together and see what happens. And I was like, of course, because I mean, Herman is the riff master. I mean, he's one of
Yeah.
the greatest metal guitar players that lives on the planet. And when he sent me the first 2 songs, I was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Because I didn't know if it would be like Victory or his solo stuff, and it wasn't. It was different, and I was like, this is going to be easy. So I sat down and I wrote the lyrics probably in 2 days and then recorded those two songs in 2 days. And then I
Mhm.
immediately sent back to him. And I got a WhatsApp video of him. You could see his boots on the table and a cigarette in his hand, and he was tapping his foot and he went like this. You could just see this, and I could hear the song in the background. And I go, I guess that means you like it, huh? And he goes, I fucking love it. Let's write some more. So I think we wrote like six and recorded, and then he came here to Italy, and we sat down and had our meeting,
Yeah.
of what direction we were going to go, and if we agreed on everything business wise, what's the vision of the band, all of that stuff is so important. And we are the leaders of the band. It's a partnership. It's not Herman's band. It's not my band. It's our band.
Yeah, and can we see it as you two also played in Accept? Can we see this Iron Eyes as a version of Accept from you two, like David Reece, Herman Frank's Accept?
No, I don't really want to compare myself to Accept. They have their
Yeah.
thing. We have ours. Of course, the influence is there from all the years.
Hmm.
It bleeds into the album a little, but we both pretty much agree we don't want to try to imitate or be like Accept. We don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, both of us have earned
You're your
our,
own sound.
yeah, we've got our own
Yeah.
sound and our own personality and our own vision. Accept has theirs, Udo has his, you know. But it is connected in a strange way, all of us.
Yeah. You all have that same vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's German metal.
Yeah. What's left to say?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah. No, you said that you then went to Italy. Herman went to Italy, and you then decided what your lineup was, right? How did you decide that?
Well, well, he had asked me about Malte Frederick Burkert, the bassist, because the bass player in Victory, I don't know, I think there was a scheduling problem, and he needed a bass player. And Malte has played on my last 3, 4 albums,
Mhm.
and I've toured all over the Europe and all over the place with him. And I said he's an amazing bass player. He's easy to work with. I think he's the right choice for Victory. Take him. And I had done Blacklist Utopia, my last solo album, with Malta and Francesco Giovino, the drummer.
Mhm.
And of course, we started talking about metal drummers. Who we really need somebody who drives the nail on the floor that can keep great time,
Yeah.
double bass. And there's not many great drummers that can consistently do that, like Giovino or Schwartzman or those guys. And I said, Herman, Francesco would be perfect. He's playing with Jorn right now, and he just left Primal Fear. He said, yeah, but that's two guys from your solo band. And then he goes, I want to use Michael Peason from Victory as the rhythm player. And I said, it doesn't matter. We know these people. We know we can tour with them. We can be friends. We can be professional. It's perfect. Let's just put it together. That's how it came about. And then I said, well, you've got Malta in Victory. Let's just put him in Iron Allies, and I'll bring in Francesco. And he said, okay, I'll bring Mike Pisa in from Victory on rhythm because he's very comfortable with him as a guitar player. Because two guitar players, it's tough for them to work together. It's many
Mhm.
metal bands that it has to be a special chemistry for two guitar
Yeah.
players to work. And especially if you have a lead player like Herman, there has to be a certain rhythmic guy playing rhythm against him. And they're friends, so it's comfortable for Herman. It was all kind of I don't know, I wouldn't say one happy family, but it was just comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mike is also an extraordinary guitarist. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. We've got an Italian and an American, two Germans and a Russian in the band.
That's a global band, you know. But
Yeah,
you are located in Germany or Italy? The band in itself.
me?
No, the
Well, I
band.
would say the general. Francesco lives close to me here in Italy, but the others live in the north of Germany. Yeah,
Yeah. So you would say Germany. Yeah.
yeah, I would say Germany is the
Yeah.
home base.
After all, it's a German metal band, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Iron Allies, I mean, it all kind of fits. We're all allies together, and
Yeah.
all these different countries, allied as one, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's how you came in with the name for the band.
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
Herman had a couple ideas, and then one day I had some ideas, and we wrote them down, and we sent him back messages. What are we going to call it?
Hmm.
And then he said, "What about Iron Allies?" And I said, "Oh, there's a couple bands like Iron Maiden and Iron this." And they go, "I don't care." They goes, "I like it." I said, "Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's use it." It's
Yeah.
really, you can make the name with the band's, longevity and the records, the songs,
Hmm.
and then people, they may compare it. Oh, it says Iron this, or Black that, or you can say Black Label Society. From
Yeah.
Zach playing with Ozzy and Black Sabbath. I mean, who cares? You know, there's a lot more stupid names out there than Iron
Yeah.
Allies.
That's for sure. Yeah. Darren Eyes is a really great name. I was surprised that it was never used before.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I saw a band called Iron Savior actually right when I decided to use the name with Herman, and I went, oh, but it's totally different. So
Yeah.
Iron Eagle, Iron Maiden, it's all about steel, right, and metal.
Yeah. Uh, Now, as you were saying, you were talking about the other band members. Did they have the chance to participate in the composition process of this album? Or did they
No,
write any songs?
Herman,
No?
Herman and I wrote everything. The song "Friesen," where there's part of the riff was Stefan Schwarzman had worked with Panzer with Herman for a while,
Yeah.
so we credited Stefan on that. And on the song "Evil the Gun," there's some lyrics in there that I co-wrote with a man named John Wild. But everything else, the
Mhm.
melodies, all the riffs, and everything is
Yeah.
Herman and I. And we just laid it in front of the guys, learned the songs, and we meet in Hanover and we record the album. I mean, we demoed over the internet, in our home studios and
Yeah.
kind of made the recipe, and then we did the basic tracks in Germany.
Yeah, and Herman is really in great shape. I mean, he just dropped the Victory album last year, also a solo album last year, I think, or 2 years before that, and now a new
Hmm.
album, really in great shape.
Me too. I mean, I did
Yeah.
during lockdown. I did 5 albums. I mean, I'm grateful for it. It was a little too much, but I mean, I needed to survive. I mean, we were really panicking here because the
Yeah.
epidemic really started about 30 kilometers from my house in
Yeah.
Italy, and I was actually recording with another act and writing songs, and they shut down the city I was working in, and I didn't know what was going on. But I had released Blacklist Utopia, my solo album, on March 20th of 2020. So I probably recorded 70 or 80 songs in the last 2 years before I did this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it's incredible. I think that that's one of the reasons why so many bands are putting so many quality content recently. I mean, they wrote many songs during the pandemic.
Mm. Also, they had albums ready to release, and they decided
Yeah.
to wait until after the pandemic. So it created a bottleneck, and then all the shows that were canceled.
Yeah.
Now everybody's playing every night. So, I mean, in Italy, it's not that common to play a lot of clubs or festivals. So, but every night somebody's playing now, making up for 2 or 3 years ago. So,
Yeah.
if you have 50 euros in your pocket and you like, say, this band, and then 2 days later, say Testament's playing on Friday, most of the fans
Mhm.
are going to go to where the bigger bands are. So the smaller bands are suffering with
Yeah.
attendance, and clubs are really suffering still. They're slowly rebuilding. I played a club show Saturday last weekend in Germany. I played with some friends, and we had like 150 people in a really small place. It was fantastic. It's starting to get more relaxed. People are feeling better, and
Yeah. Yeah, I saw something like that too. That small bands were having trouble to play shows right now because all the
really,
bands ones were making up for the time they were stopped.
a lot of big bands are taking smaller venues just to play and make money.
Yeah.
So the smaller bands are being pushed aside because, say, you get a band like Iron Allies that can play a 300 seat club, they're going to hire us because we're well known and not the local band from,
Yeah.
say, another city. They'd rather take us because we'll put in the 500 people that fill the place, and
Mhm.
It's business, you know, and that's
Yeah.
another thing about Iron Allies. I'd be a liar if I said, you know, that it was not a conscientious business decision in this climate. Herman and I know that both of us being ex-Accept members and Francesco from Primal Fear and UDO, it's a selling point. A bunch of talented guys, but promoters actually they look at that and they say, okay, this guy will bring 200, this guy will bring 200, that guy 200, and you know I'll have a full house. And it's all about the numbers, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
for the
about the money
promoter.
because they all need to rebuild their clubs too.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, it's about the numbers. For me, it's really about the music. I don't care anymore about all this promoter nonsense. It's chaos right now, but I understand it, you know.
Yeah, you're too old for that already now.
I wouldn't say I'm too old. It's just that,
Yeah.
you know, one day you hear this is happening and then everything changes in 24 hours. So
Yeah.
if you listen to it all day long, it gets so crazy that, you know, it'll drive you insane. You know, the
Hmm.
competition for all the venues and, you know, how much money they're offering and all that madness. Of course, I'm a business person and I pay close attention to it, but I don't live and breathe every day because I have to write songs. That's what I am
Yeah.
first. I'm a singer.
Yeah.
And I
Uh,
believe if you write quality songs and you consistently put out good, strong material, build your fan base and be a professional, then people will stand
yeah.
behind you, you know, especially the European people.
Yeah, especially also in the inside the metal community. You know,
Yeah,
if you,
they're loyal. They're
yeah,
the loyalty.
it's one thing that you
Yeah.
don't see in many communities, especially in
No.
music. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Americans, we say here today, gone later today. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
somebody's a superstar for one day and the next day you can't remember their name.
Yeah. Now, moving on to the lyrical aspect, what does Blood In, Blood Out talk about?
The commitment to rock and roll,
All the songs?
dedication,
Yeah.
blood in, blood out. That song in particular. Lyrically, I'm somebody who I came from the '80s and it was overdone to so much. You know, baby, baby, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, the big crowd things and stuff, and
Yeah.
I got so tired of it that as a songwriter now, I try to write what I think are lyrics that leave someone to create their own subjectivity of what I'm trying to portray. Let's take a song like Evil the Gun. That's a gun talking to a person. I mean, in the world, everybody blames guns for all the violence, but it's a machine. And
Yeah.
people are killing each other with cars and knives. And I just said, you know, I'm going to write a song about a gun talking to the person. I am evil the gun. I am the bastard son. You know, I am the, you know what I mean? It's basically you're blaming me for societal behavior. Martyrs Burn is about the Blitzkrieg over London. And basically, in those days when that was happening, people would have tea parties and watch the air battle over London. The rich people in
Mhm.
England would have the Germans are attacking tonight. I was reading a history book about that. I thought that was so bizarre because the Germans were bombing the industrial areas of London,
And they were
but
partying.
they were leaving the upper echelon people alone. So they would have these drinking parties and dinners outside and watch the air battle for entertainment. So if you read the lyrics, you know, pull up a chair and learn and watch the martyrs burn because you know these innocent guys fighting in the sky,
Yeah.
you know, being killed, and people are going, "Bravo!" You know, we just shot down another Junker. Oh, look, a Spitfire was blown up. And it's crazy. So truth never mattered. Is you know basically this business is full of liars, and the more honest you are in this business, the more threatening I've learned that you can be to people because they would rather live their lies. So I added the Queen liar and all that stuff in there. It's kind of a slap in the face to you know my
Yeah.
past and dealing with all of this. So I try to write stories. You know,
Yeah.
Destroyers
Lyrics
of the
that
Night is
matter.
about subject
Mhm.
matter that can be subjective. You know, it may mean something different to you than me, which is great because that leaves it
Yeah.
open, you know.
Yeah, but writing lyrics that matter is also a very important thing that you don't see that much these days.
Yeah, I mean, everybody can write about, demons and
Yeah,
wizards, and it gets pretty silly after a while. I mean, I'm a 60-year-old man, so you know, come on. I don't worship the devil and all that crazy stuff. There's a market for it, but I would rather be melodic about what I'm doing.
yeah, that's the right way to do it, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Now, what about your vocal performance? Did you adopt any new technique for this album?
No, I mean, I've had a lot of vocal training, and I've been lucky. I'm physically fit. I believe in eating healthy. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Um, a lot of singers abuse themselves for years, and the
Mhm.
older they get, they decline, and they still try to go out there and do those songs, and it doesn't work. There's rare guys like Halford and Dickinson, and that's proof that if you
Yeah,
take care of your instrument, it takes care of you. But no, I knew that I had to be aggressive vocally, but I also knew I wanted to keep my melodic style in those choruses
yeah,
to those heavy riffs. Yeah. And that's what separates it from accept or the other stuff. It's not
mhm.
that da 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 da. You have a little bit of moving melodies, with harmonies and such.
Yeah, and you just you basically sang like you did in your in the rest of your career. You were yourself in this album.
Well, thank you. I was hitting some pretty high notes on Saturday. I surprised myself, but I sing every day. I try
Yeah,
to. Paul Rogers made a great comment one day about singing, and he's in his late 70s, and a lot of singers go before getting to really sing loud and find out what their
mhm.
range is going to do for the show that night. And he said it's a lot like for him starting a car. You don't push the gas to the floor and take off. You let the
Yeah,
motor warm up. So he says I slowly sing lower and relax, and then get the muscle relaxed, and then I get on another level, another step, and then I start. Oh, okay, I'm good today. And it made a lot of
mhm.
sense to me. There's no reason to go before you go on stage because you got to sing for 90 or 120 minutes. It's a lot,
Yeah,
especially traveling. You got to rest. You have to sleep. Yeah,
yeah,
and turning off your adrenaline after a show is really tough for me. It takes me
mhm.
about 2 hours just to finally close my eyes because it's
Mhm.
an intense physical endeavor when you're really singing and putting
Yeah,
everything you've got into it. With a band like Iron Allies, it takes a lot of your energy. If you're not in 100% seven
yeah,
days a week, it's the same.
yeah. That's it. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah, and you should know about that. You mean you've been in this in the metal industry for like how much how long? Since the 80s, it's been like 40 years now.
I started in 1977.
Almost 50 years, and
I,
yeah,
yeah, I've been doing it a long time.
yeah,
I did the typical American club band thing for I don't know 4 or 5 years, and then I got my first break with Accept. Uh,
yeah,
I mean, I played everywhere: Canada, America, Mexico. Yeah, you pay your dues like that, and that's the way you kind of form your own identity. Uh,
yeah,
punching it out in the clubs every night, 7 days a week. We play like in those days, you played 350 shows a year.
yeah. If you had to rate on the albums that you sang in during your career, in which position with Blood In Blood Out be?
In my top five,
Yeah,
I'm very proud of Eat the Heat. I'm very proud of Bangalore Choir. My solo albums, I'm really proud of Cacophony of Souls and Blacklist Utopia. So, it's a new album, so it's my new baby, Iron Allies. And
yeah,
I'm, playing with a guy like Herman really, I don't know what the word is, but it brings out some of those old days. And, when I was a younger guy, it's really a thrilling experience to write a story and put it to a recording and go, oh, I can still do that. And people don't find it false. It's real conviction, you know. I mean, that feels really good. So I would say it's
Yeah.
in my top 5. I mean, at least maybe closer. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I mean, I've done a lot of songs, and some of them mean a lot to me personally. And some people come up to me and they'll say, "This song that you recorded in 1990 helped me through a divorce, or somebody died in their family," and that's really, I don't know what the word is. That it's kind of frightening to hear somebody say this song saved me. It's flattering, but you really don't know what to say. You know, you just say thank you, and then you get in the hotel and you think about it and you go, wow, that song touched that person or a bunch of people in particular at a time in their life. That means a lot to me. You know, I remember many moments like that, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it's always special. And
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
still trying to write that song. I want to write. I mean, we never are. I mean, as a writer, you always are trying to write a better song. And if you're not, you're wasting your time. You never sit back on your laurels and say, "This is it. I've really mastered it," because there's no such thing as
there's always
making
to be perfected.
this. I really think there's something deep down inside that's calling out of me that's ready to come out, and that's why I write every day, because it's an exercise. I mean, it's like a soccer player. You know, he has to run, he has to kick goals, he has to practice and to fine tune his craft. And I think if you stay with it, it comes.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of writer's block. I know a lot of singers that worry about that. I started doing that a few years ago, and I said, why am I even thinking this? Just keep writing. If it's not good, don't record it.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't really exist, the writer's block, you know. Just sometimes you
Yeah,
write better songs, other times you write worse songs. You just know, you just have to know how to choose the best ones.
and you know it. I think you know it
Yeah,
when you're recording. I think you deep down inside, if there's any kind of like, you know, don't even keep going. Just move on. You know, it's not the
yeah.
end of the world. You can't polish a piece of shit. You know, it's always going to be shit.
Yeah.
You know what I
Sometimes
mean?
it's better to start over, you know, throw what you
Yeah,
have away and then start over.
it's only rock and roll, man. I
Yeah.
mean,
Now, you just mentioned your when you days when you were younger. Still to this day, how is your career connected to Accept Seat the Heat? I mean, it was your big break. Still to this day, are you still the guy that sang in that album?
except,
Yes.
well, I can be blatantly honest. It was super positive, super negative, but I wouldn't be speaking with you right now if I hadn't done that album.
Yeah.
The doors were open. The floodgate happened.
Hmm.
I mean, the critics hated me, some loved me, but I have to be honest and say that was an opportunity of a lifetime. I did the best I could. I have no animosity towards those guys. I don't care what
Hmm.
they're doing. They don't care what I'm doing, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. It speaks volumes as a singer that I was chosen at over 50 people to be the guy.
Yeah.
It was a difficult job. I mean, actually, when Rob Halford left Judas Priest, they started calling me. And I was, at that time, I could really sing like that. And it was myself, Ralph Sheepers, and Ripper Owens were the top 3 guys.
Hmm.
So they chose Ripper, but they were contacting me 6 months later, you know, come over to England and let's jam. So it obviously it did a lot for me in a positive way.
Yeah. It kickstarts your career.
I mean, everybody has an album they regret, but I mean, if you regret an album, maybe you're not thinking clearly about the personal turmoil that was going on during the album. That could
Yeah.
affect how you think about it. And I've gotten to my old mature state where I can go, that's pretty damn good. You know, I still play Ecstasy and D Train and Hellhammer Live and Generation Clash, and people go crazy. So those songs are timeless for people, you know?
Yeah. That's right. And you think, I think that Eat the Heat stands for accept what Turbo, for example, stands for Judas Priest. You know, it's an album that you either love or you hate. You know,
Yeah. I mean, Tim
doesn't
had the
mean it's a
same
bad
thing.
album.
Tim
You just like it or not.
Ripper Ripper, was crucified at being in Judas Priest.
Yeah,
That was not an easy job. I mean, now he's playing 7 nights a week all over the world with different bands. I admire him greatly. Look at Blaze Bayley. He's a
yeah,
workaholic. He was in Iron Maiden. I mean, can you imagine that job?
the
Nobody's
pressure.
going to put their arms around you, but he earned his respect and his credibility, and he's carrying on. It's not going to destroy me because Accept told me to go away. I mean, I won't. I'm too strong-minded, and I know I have the talent to carry on, and I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Now, coming back to Iron and Ice, which are your touring plans for this album? Is Portugal included there?
What are the plans for the album?
The touring plans, for shows.
We have a really big booking agency out of Berlin, and we're getting offers right now for 2023. We're hitting the big festivals next year. We've got offers on the table for that, and that's all the business side of it, where they negotiate the fees and everything. But it's a touring band, and it'll be similar to Accept, where we play all the time. That's really the only way to solidify a rock and roll band, a metal band, is if you consistently play. There's no point in making great albums like Blood In, Blood Out and sitting at home and then recording 5 more albums in different projects. You have to focus and legitimize it in the media, like with you and the videos and all the critics, because the promoters follow that stuff and they see the sales numbers and they hear people talking, and you have to deliver. It's time to take it to the next step, which is touring, and I'm ready. The band
Yeah,
wants to go.
and touring is the only way a band can grow as a band
Yeah,
itself.
musically especially, and
Yeah,
personally, we're all old enough to know if that guy's in a bad mood, so what? Let him be in a bad mood. Let's do the gig. We don't get into the drama. It's time. We have a job to do, and that's to perform at our best level and deliver to the people who paid their hard-earned money to come see that record be played live. That's my sole responsibility.
yeah, that's right. But you don't have any plans to come to Portugal right now, do you?
No, but I'm sure we will. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been offered your country a few times
Mhm.
over the few years, and I think COVID destroyed it. I was going to play 2 shows there in 2020, and they were canceled solo. But
Mhm.
I'm sure, absolutely, I want to come to Portugal. I've never been.
What about now? Which are your plans for the Iron Eyes for this near future? Play
We're
shows?
promoting the shows, like I said, are all in negotiation right now for
Mhm.
early next year and through the summer. Writing songs. We have 3 videos out, one called Full of Surprises. We have Blood In, Blood Out, and we just released Destroyers of the Night last week. The release was on the 21st of the physical copy with AFM Records. I'm doing massive media for this album. So is Herman. It's been fantastic. So please, the Portuguese people, if you can, afford the album and promote the record, share it. Go to our Facebook pages, Iron Allies Fan Club page, David Reece Official, Herman Frank. Log on, see what's going on. Word of mouth is powerful.
Well, I think that's it. Thank you, David.
Great.
Would you like to send any message to your Portuguese fans?
God bless you
That's
all,
right.
man.
What you just
Put
said.
the horns up and rock and roll. I hope to see you soon in the future. And I thank you very much for all of your kind words and this professional interview. I look forward to seeing it in the media.